You're watching TVC News Hour. I'm Moses Omogana with business updates. Namibia's central bank kept its main lending rate unchanged at 5.5% for the seventh straight time on Wednesday, saying economic growth was expected to continue in 2014, while inflation would remain at sustainable levels. The bank says growth in 2014 was expected to be supported by the sustained rapid pace of construction and mining, as well as strong growth in consumer demand. It says the performance of Namibian economy remained broadly satisfactory during the first 2 months of 2014. The Central Bank of Namibia has also raised its 2014 growth forecast to 5.3% from 5% in February, but also says inflation will remain below 6%. Improving the prospects of unemployment in Algeria has remained one of its government's priorities since 1990. TVC's Taiwo Barua reports that youths are now offered up to $140,000 loans to set up small and medium-scale businesses.
Year in, year out, Algeria's politicians have been left with the challenge on how to improve the prospects of the country's teeming youth who are desperate for change. Unemployment in the oil-rich North African nation stands at almost 22%. And that's according to the International Monetary Fund. But determined to tackle this economic challenge, the government in 2008 set up an interest-free credit of $140,000 to the unemployed looking to set up small and medium-sized businesses. This development has no doubt lured many young exiled Algerians back home. 31-year-old mechanical manufacturing graduate Nassim Odia was granted a loan in 2004. Today, he has 7 employees in his small factory, which makes machine tools.
J'avais l'opportunité d'aller au Canada. J'avais été sollicité par des amis qui étaient au Canada. Donc j'avais un profil qui était recherché. C'était par rapport. Je me suis dit que j'avais l'opportunité de réussir ici en Algérie. Pourquoi aller chercher ailleurs?
ما كان لي حرية تعبير، ما كان لي خدمة، ما كان ريان. سي با انا واش راهم يديروا البوفوار هذوما حاكمين البلاد باطل. ما على باليش أنا.
Critics of the scheme have accused the government of using this initiative to boost its image among the youth, as President Abdelaziz Bouteflika stands for a controversial 4th term.
On ne laisse pas les jeunes penser par eux-mêmes, on pense à leur place. Je pense que l'État doit absolument autoriser les associations, le mouvement associatif, les laisser s'exprimer. C'est-à-dire, plus la société civile existe, plus un État est démocratique et libre.
Il n'y a pas une mèche pour les jeunes, il n'y a pas une mèche pour la société algérienne. Ils ne donnent rien, ils ne donnent pas de la chance. C'est une grande prison.
However, despite the new loan scheme, the possibility of a better life in Europe has not lost its allure for some young Algerians who leave the country's shores for Europe in illegal migrant boats. Taiwo Barua, TVC News.
Yeah, moving in west, Nigeria's former Minister of State for Finance, Yerima Ngama, says rebasing the country's nominal gross domestic product is for the good of the nation, and that the development is in line with global best practices of rebasing the GDP every 5 years. He described past data used for assessing the economy before the rebasing as faulty, says the recent economy revaluation reflects the country's true state. Yerima's comments came after criticisms that the rebasing exercise is fictitious.
According to the United Nations, every country is supposed to change the base of computing its GDP every 5 years. In Nigeria, we have not been doing that. The last time, up till now, we are using 1990 prices. And you and me know that if I produce my goods and you value these goods according to 1990 prices, you will show that my wealth is very little. But if you use 2010 prices, you will be more current and more accurate. And any comment based on GDP computation using an outdated base year, should actually lead to a misleading conclusion. And that actually supports the need to rebase the GDP, which should be the case.
And going south, South Africa's Reserve Bank says It has fined the country's top 4 bank a total of $11.8 million over tax anti-money laundering controls. South African unit of Barclays Africa Group will pay $950,000. First Rand South Africa will part with $2.84 million and the Nedbank will cough out $2.37 million. And market leader Standard Bank will churn out $5.69 million. The central bank said the administrative sanctions are not an indication that the banks in questions have in any way facilitated transactions involving money laundering and financing of terrorism. The leader of South Sudan's rebels has vowed to attack the capital, Juba, and target crucial oil fields. He insists that the civil war will not end until the country's president is removed from power. TVC News' Kemisola Agbaje has details.
South Sudan's former vice president turned rebel leader Riek Machar has branded his rival, President Salva Kiir, a dictator. He added that there is no reason for power sharing. This puts a clog in the already floundering peace talks and marks the 5th month of this recent crisis. However, the country is facing severe food shortages. The conflict in South Sudan has left thousands dead and forced around 1 million people to flee their homes since fighting broke out on December 15th in the capital, Juba, before spreading to other states in the oil-rich nation. The fighting has also taken on an ethnic dimension, pitting Kiir's Dinka tribe against Machar's Nuer people.
We have no choice. We have a tyrant in Juba, a dictator, a killer in Juba, who should be removed. I hope the peace talks can remove him. This is the less expensive method of make him leave. Juba is a target. The oil fields are a target because he is buying more arms, more ammunition. He's doing more corruption by exploiting our resources.
The rebels claims to have taken the key oil town of Bentiu, while the army rejects the claims of having captured it. Before fighting broke out, oil provided over 95% of government budget of the young nation, which only won independence from Sudan less than 3 years ago, after over 2 decades of civil war. Earlier this month, the United Nations warned that South Sudan, where the rainy season is just starting, could become the scene of the worst famine in Africa for decades without more aid and an application of the ceasefire that allows farmers to reach their fields. Also, UNICEF predicts that up to 50,000 children will die within months if immediate action is not taken, while 7 million people, 60% of the population, need food aid to survive. Kemisola Agbaje, TVC News.
And that's it on Business Updates at this hour. It's back to Bukola for the rest of the news.
Moses Omogena there in Business Update. Many thanks.
Thank you very much.